Recently, I made a video with some friends with the goal of saving on fuel. We concluded that it is not what you drive, but rather how you drive it. But is it though? Also, many of you guys had some ideas of your own. So today, I'm going to test 18 different vehicles, including a few of your guys' ideas, to truly test which vehicle is the most fuel efficient of all in BeamNG. The way this is going to work is a competition style showdown. There will be a total of 5 rounds for this competition. Each contestant will partake in round 1, but only the top 5 will move on to round 2. Following that, we will drop 1 contestant per round until we finally have our winner. Winning contestants will be awarded with incremental upgrades at specific points throughout the competition. The challenges will also get progressively more difficult over time, to definitively make sure we find the most fuel efficient car possible. Without further ado, let us begin with round 1. Round 1 is the easiest of the challenges. All the cars have to do is hold a set speed with cruise control on flat ground for 2 minutes straight. One run will be done at 60 km an hour, and another pass will be done at 100 km an hour. After each run, the amount of fuel consumed within those 2 minutes will be recorded. Then, after every car has completed both runs, each car will be awarded points based on least to most fuel used. With that out of the way, let us take a look at the contestants and how they all performed. First up, we have the Autobello Piccolina 110B. This was a car that was actually requested by one of you guys, so here it is. It completed the 60 km an hour pass using 0.12 liters of fuel, and the 100 km an hour pass using 0.26 liters of fuel. Though I was curious if the modern SBR4 engines were more efficient despite their bigger size. So, I replaced the 1.1 liter flat 4 with the modern 2 liter boxer. This time, the Piccolina only used 0.08 liters at 60 and 0.19 at 100. Next, I tried the Vivas, both in the 110 and 110D trim levels. The gas model used only 0.07 of a liter at 60 and 0.18 of a liter at 100. The diesel variant did even better, using just 0.06 and 0.14 of a liter respectively. Moving on to the next vehicle, we have the Covet, which too was tested in 2 different trims. First, I tried the 13S with its 1.3 liter engine, which used 0.08 and 0.17. Then, I tried the 15EE high efficiency model, and despite having a high efficiency gearbox with an extra gear, an aerodynamic grille, and I guess some tires, I don't know, it performed ever so slightly worse than the 13S, matching it in low speeds, but actually using 1/100th of a liter more at high speeds. Then I tried the Scintilla, which too was requested by one of you guys. It unfortunately did not perform very well though, using over 1/5 of a liter of fuel at low speeds, and over 1/3 of a liter at high speeds. Though the Vivas tested earlier did show that diesels were more efficient, so I swapped out the 5 liter V10 for a 6 liter turbo diesel. And it did perform slightly better, but not by much. Following that, we have the Pessima HX, the original fuel efficient model in BeamNG. It did quite well using 0.07 at 60 and 0.17 of a liter at 100. Next on the list, we have the Pigeon and Widgeon, 2 other requested cars. Looking at how the Pigeon did first, it did pretty well at low speeds using only 0.08 of a liter. But comparatively, the Pigeon struggles a lot at high speeds using a whole 20% of a liter. Swapping out the 550cc inline 3 and 3-speed manual for the 1200cc inline 4 bike engine and 5-speed transmission did not do it any favors at low speeds, though it did perform marginally better at 100 km an hour. As for the Widgeon, it performed noticeably better than the Pigeon in both low and high speed tests using only 0.07 and 0.16 of a liter respectively. Moving on, I decided to try the Sunburst CVT, as CVTs tend to keep RPMs low, and BeamNG's fuel consumption is massively influenced by RPM. And there was some merit to that, with the Sunburst 1.6 Boxer 4 performing just as well as many of the smaller engines at low speeds, though it did use a lot more fuel in the 100 km an hour pass. Next up, we have the ETK 854 150D with the 8-speed automatic. It too did quite well at 60 km an hour using only 0.07 of a liter of fuel, though it completely fell apart in the 100 test using a whopping 0.23 of a liter. To see if the wagon maybe had a lot of drag at high speeds, I decided to try the same engine in the K series, and it performed just as well at low speeds and actually slightly better at high speeds. Lastly, I decided to try the modern Pessima DX for comparison against the older HX model. though unfortunately did not do quite as well, using 0.09 of a liter at 60 kilometers an hour and 0.21 of a liter at 100 kilometers an hour. So that wraps it up for round 1, and 13 of the contestants will not be moving on to round 2. To start with, because any duplicate vehicle will end up with the same modifications next round, all lesser performing duplicate models are automatically out. And with that context, the 5 cars that are moving on to the next round are the Vivas 110D in first place, the Covet 13S in fourth place, the Ibishu Widgeon in second place, the Pessima HX third, and finally, the ETK K-Series, which came in fifth. The rest of the contestants get to go home. For round 2, we will actually be performing the same challenge, but this time with a twist. The cars are allowed to be modified to perform better in this round. They are allowed to strip their interiors, change their transmissions, and swap their wheels and tires. They can also swap out body and glass panels for lightweight alternatives, but they cannot outright remove any body panels. These are actually the exact same rules we adhered to in my previous fuel economy video. So, with the vehicle stripped out, low rolling resistance tires equipped, and the tire pressures maxed out, how did they all perform? Well, the winner of the previous challenge, the Vivas, used just 0.05 of a liter at 60 and 0.12 of a liter at 100. The runner-up Widgeon actually outperformed the Vivas this round by using just 0.04 of a liter at 60 and tied it going 100. Third place of last round, the Pessima HX, came behind the other two using 0.06 and 0.16 in its tests. The Covet 13S, which was previously fourth place, saw a respectable improvement using 5 and 14% of a liter during its attempt. And lastly, the K-Series, which had come fifth previously, again ended up fifth this round, using 0.07 and 0.20 of a liter in its tests, meaning that it is the car to get eliminated for this round. With our final 4, let us move on to round 3. For this round, the cars are participating in a different challenge altogether, specifically the EPA's Highway Fuel Economy test. It is a 765-second long test spanning 16.5 kilometers, with constantly changing levels of speed to simulate driving on a freeway. So, did the underpowered Widgeon or turbocharged Vivas perform worse under regular acceleration? Well, let us take a look at the results. The Widgeon, which came first in round 2, used just 0.62 of a liter of fuel throughout the entire test. Previously second place Vivas used ever so slightly more, with 2/3 of a liter being used. The Covet, having come third last round, also held its position, using 0.84 of a liter of fuel. And lastly, the Pessima again came fourth, having used almost an entire liter and eliminating itself from the competition. We are now down to the top 3 in the semi-finals. For this round, we are going to do the same thing that we did in round 2, where the cars are modified to perform better in the same tests they just ran. This time, we are going to allow farther modifications by letting them do anything that would still be considered road legal in my province. This means they need to have a windshield, a bumper or bumper bar, 2 mirrors, and all exterior lighting still in place. Apart from that, they can do whatever. So, how did each of the cars perform this time? Well, the Widgeon saw a massive improvement in fuel economy, dropping down to using only 0.43 of a liter of fuel. The Vivas's performance was improved as well, but nowhere near the same extent, having only used 0.58 of a liter of fuel in its run. The Covet, meanwhile, also saw nearly the same level of improvement as the Widgeon, having used the exact same amount of fuel as the Vivas, just in the previous round. This means that the Covet is eliminated from the competition as we move into the final round. That being said, I cannot help but notice that after the upgrades, the Covet is now starting to encroach on the Vivas. So, for this final round, it will be participating for science, but it will not reflect the final outcome of the event. As for the final round, we are once again tackling a new challenge. This time, it is the EPA's Urban Driving Dynamometer schedule. This means much more acceleration and speed changes than the previous 2 challenges, and aerodynamics will matter a whole lot less. Also, we are skipping the initial benchmarking run and going straight to modifying the cars as much as possible. The only requirements for this round are that the cars must be drivable, so wheel, chairs, pedals, that's pretty much it. And how did they all perform? Well, starting off with the Covet, because it is no longer competing, it used 0.83 of a liter, which is less than it initially used in the highway test. As for the Vivas, it used just 0.60 of a liter throughout the entire test. And the Widgeon? Well, it used just 0.58 0.53 of a liter of fuel, meaning that the Widgeon is the most fuel efficient car you can drive in BeamNG. But before I end this video, I took the heavily modified Widgeon back to the very first group of tests to see just how much better it performed. And at 60 kilometers an hour, the Widgeon used just 0.03 of a liter of fuel, while at 100, it used just 0.07. So, while the guys and I may have determined last time that how much fuel you'll use heavily depends on how you drive, it does help quite a lot if your car is already quite efficient to begin with.